Hey everyone, it's Ian here, also known as White Robot, and today I want to ask a question that somebody asked in the Discord server in relation to buying 35 watt. Basically, they was asking me, is it better to buy a large 35 watt miner or a greedy? But in this video, I really want to focus on the 35 watt question because it is a fairly complicated question. And although when you see it on the marketplace, it can feel very lucrative, it is important that you understand all of the associated risks involved in purchasing 35 watt over anything else. So I think it's worth giving a brief overview of what I mean. So if you're new to GoMining, there are two main factors involved in working out what type of miner you want to purchase. There's the power. So in this particular case, the TH here. When it comes to Bitcoin mining, 1 TH, regardless of the efficiency, will mine exactly the same amount of Bitcoin. The only difference between 35 watt and 15 watt, for example, is that 35 watt costs a lot more than 15 watt to actually run. So although you can earn X amount of Bitcoin per TH, and that's the same no matter what, you might end up spending substantially more to actually mine that Bitcoin with a 35 watt versus a 15 watt, which would cost a lot less to run. So with the 15 watt, you get more Bitcoin as profit at the end of it. But 35 watt or lower, there are some greedies on here, greedy machines on here that are as low as 50 watt. So it can look very lucrative to buy low efficiency when you do sort through the market. So like I said, here you can see this 35 watt machine here has an ROI of 87.87%, and you're only paying this tiny amount of money. And if I compare that to the lowest 20 watt available on the market, this ROI is 61.74. And if we compare that to the 15, this is even lower. This is 46.57. So like I said, it can look very lucrative to buy this 35 watt. And so there's several factors that you do need to consider. So if you actually go into the 35 watt miner, first of all, you need to be aware that the price that displays on the main marketplace includes this 20% discount. And on these large machines, in order to have this 20% discount, you need an entire year's worth of GoMining token to cover that. So you need to have $69,000 worth of GoMining token on your virtual account to get this ROI. Now, if we compare this to the BTC, this ROI is pretty good. You know, it's 50% here, and if we increase this to 150, it looks very lucrative. So if you have a firm belief in Bitcoin and you are confident that Bitcoin will go up, obviously buying cheap power, as cheap as you can get it, somewhat regardless of efficiency, it's going to be a pretty good investment. But there are serious risks. Number one, network difficulty hasn't been factored into this. So if you're on current, this is a fairly accurate estimate based on the amount of Bitcoin somebody received yesterday. As Bitcoin increases in value, increases in popularity, there is something called network difficulty that adjusts. And network difficulty increases, it's basically on an upward trend forever. For numerous reasons. First of all, Bitcoin is becoming more valuable. Bitcoin is becoming widely known. More people want to mine it. More people want a slice of the pie. And that will naturally increase the network difficulty. And that will continually climb because computers get cheaper. And like I said, more and more people want a slice of the pie. And you can see, like, there are charts that you can check. I won't share it on this video, but there are charts that you can check that basically demonstrate that network difficulty is continually on an upward trend. So realistically, when BTC hits this price, you won't be getting this ROI. It's hard to know exactly what it will be, but it won't be that. Unless Bitcoin jumps rapidly, very quickly within a very short space of time, then you might get, amazing ROI. So that is possible. So if you understand that and you understand the risks involved in network difficulty, then you can make those judgments. Another risk with 35 watt that will heavily impact this is, in real life, although when we buy these miners, they represent liquid hash rate, these figures are kind of made up because in real life, the GoMining won't be using 35 watt because this is dated technology. They will probably be using 15 watt or even less in real life. So at some point, I believe that GoMining will want people to stop using 35 watt. So in the last sort of 3 or 4 months, they've already started putting in measures in place to force people to upgrade. So you can see here, to increase the power of this miner, you need to upgrade its energy efficiency to 28 watt first. So you can see they're already putting measures in place. I think one other thing that GoMining may potentially do is that electricity costs have not changed in a long time. They've kept the cost of electricity fairly consistent for a substantial length of time. I don't know the exact details of that, but I do know that it's been consistent for a long time. I worry that GoMining could increase the electricity costs at some point, and when that happens, these won't mine anything. They will not be profitable, or very unlikely to be profitable. Definitely not numbers like this. You will be forced to upgrade. So there's that risk. Also, with Bitcoin, every 4 years there is a halving event. At the time of recording this, the last halving was in April last year, so April 2024. And in 3 years, roughly just over 3 years time from now, there will be a halving event, and 35, it's not going to be mining anything again. So if you are buying these and, like I said, you understand these risks, it could work out really well, or it could backfire. So personally, rather than buying the 35 watt, I would recommend to look into well, there's so many options. Like 20 watt is one of the better options currently, but even like 15 watt, some of the 15 watt is slightly coming down in price on the secondary market. And when you check the stats, it's not bad when you consider that this is a long-term investment and you won't need to pay any money to upgrade. While any 35 watt, if you are going to buy it with the intention that you have no intent of upgrading it, but you only have the intent of flipping it. And with that in mind, I have personally been very bullish on 35 watt for a while. And so for anyone that's seen any of my comments over the last sort of 6 months about 35 watt might actually be surprised that I am sounding a little bit negative about it. And the reason is because things have changed. Like the GoMining market changes rapidly all the time. So the situation 2-3 months ago was very different to what it is now. 2 or 3 months ago, GoMining allowed you to upgrade everything, even 50 watt. But then at some point, I can't remember exactly when, they stopped people upgrading anything that was above 35 watt. So if you had a 50 watt machine, and that only really counts towards the volume 1 of the Greedy collection. I believe after then it was 35 watt. So that first collection, basically they said, no, you can't upgrade this anymore. If you want to upgrade this, you need to increase the efficiency to 35 watt. And then a couple of months later, they did the exact same thing to the 35 watt and forced people to upgrade the 35 watt to 28 watt. And them doing that completely changed things. Because at that point, you could buy 35 watt machines for $5 to $7. Even small machines, you could buy them for, like $10. And at that moment in time, that was cheap. Or they were worth buying then because it's cheap power. It's just insanely cheap in comparison to everything else. So I was buying 35 watt when it was like $7. And I was comfortable buying it then because, first of all, ROI on $7 TH versus, $10 is way more ROI than what's there now. ROI on those were over 100%. So I know that even if I held that machine for 6 months, I would get back half of my money and I could probably then just sell it. Even if I sold it half the price that I paid it for, I would still get my money back. It's a very low risk investment. But now, if you can imagine, they stopped allowing people with 35 watt to upgrade them. So the only way to purchase 35 watt was secondary. And that creates a domino effect that people that want cheap power will buy the floor. They will always buy the floor. And so by floor, I mean buy the cheapest available. And give it a few months, which is where we're at now, it's gone from being $7 to $11. Or, people are paying in some cases like $16. Which, in my opinion, is just pure insanity. So, me buying them a few months back for $7, I'm able to then resell them for $11 to $16, and people are buying them. So I'm making a good profit on those. Like these machines over here, bearing in mind that the GoMining tokens increase, but I was buying this size miner for half this price. I was buying them for like no, it wasn't quite half. It was like $900. And now they are $1,450. So by simply reselling it at a higher price, I'm making a profit. You know, I've made more than what I put in, plus it's mined over the last, it's mined Bitcoin over the last few months. So, I just feel that buying 35 watt now just doesn't really make any sense unless, like I said, that you understand all of the risk involved, or if you're looking for just pure bulk in miner wars and don't care about the Bitcoin. Because one of the benefits of miner wars is that you can just use power and win personal blocks. And if your efficiency isn't enough to actually get any Bitcoin, like say if Bitcoin tanks and you have low efficiency and they literally make nothing, it's still accumulating a score in miner wars, and you can still win personal blocks. So, if that's a strategy for you, then cheap power, go for it. In that scenario, if that's your strategy, these are great because it's the cheapest power available. So I think it's worth looking at what should you buy instead, or what is a better deal. And it's not a simple thing to answer because obviously it depends on your strategy. But what I do is I sometimes look around at ROI. If these were small machines, this is a great price, but these are obviously huge. You literally need $47,000 to buy those. If these were like $10, then I would probably go for it. But at this price, no, unless I wanted it for strategic reasons. So I would probably look at maybe 28 watt, because 28 watt you can upgrade. And what I would also do, I would kind of ignore these numbers because, like I said, they will change. What's worth doing is checking. So if you click on the power and then you click into power at grade prices, these prices here are the market price. So if you wanted a bargain, what I would do is check this. So we can see that for a miner this size, what was it? It was like 128. The average price per TH would be like, if we're factoring in these lower prices, probably like, $15.80 or something, or $16 is, a reasonable price for something like this. And you can see this is $15.57. So this is below market value. So this is a good price, because if you was to buy this at this price and then hold it or flip it, you will probably make more money than you're putting in. So that's a good price. But then when you go back to the market, we know what the market value is. So if you was to buy a 1TH and then power it up, these are expensive. Like you can rather than buying this, it's cheaper to buy a 1TH 28 watt or a small, a tiny one, and then to upgrade it manually and to pay for that TH, rather than buy these. with the exception of that one, all of these are just way too expensive unless you want a specific NFT. Like say if you want a whale, they're only a specific amount of them. So spending a little bit more on them if you want something from that collection isn't a terrible idea. And going off script here, while I'm thinking about it, with the 35 watt, in terms of knowing what the market value would be, something I like to do is, because right now, because you can't actually upgrade 35 watt, we have no way of knowing what the price of that TH actually should be if it was on the market. So what I like to do is kind of go backwards from it. So we know that, say, I'm just going to say $16 for the sake of it. So 28 watt is $16 per TH. But if you had 35 watt, the price to upgrade it to 28 watt is $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6. Roughly $6. So if we was to say, okay, 28 watt is $16, in order to get 35 watt up to $28, it's going to cost you $6. So really, if you wanted to get market rate 35 watt, we can work out that it would be roughly $10. So if you can get 35 watt for $10, that's a good price. If it's more than that, it's, in my opinion, just better to get 28 watt because you are getting your money's worth essentially. What I've been looking at personally is like I said a few months ago I was fairly bullish on the low efficiency, and because I believe in Bitcoin, and I genuinely believe that at some point in the next 10 years, Bitcoin will reach 1 million. I feel that's inevitable. Do I think that's going to happen in the next year? No, but I believe it will within the next 10 years. So I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, and I know that it's going to be going up. And I personally believe that this year, it's going to increase. So I've always been bullish on the 35 watt for that reason, but I've already expressed my concerns. So I'm here for the long term, and that means that I've been more focused on getting lower efficiency now. So 20 watt primarily. So with 20 watt, how I do it is every cycle I want to continually grow my farm, and how I do this is that I am either buying from the marketplace or I am upgrading my greedy. I have a greedy machine. Just quickly jump into here. You can see I've got lots of different miners. So I've got this greedy machine here. If I was going to upgrade this, it cost me $23.25. So that's the cheapest I need to pay to get more 20 watt. So when I look on the marketplace and I search, change the efficiency, put 20 watt. If I want more 20 watt on the marketplace, if I can get cheaper than upgrading a greedy, then I will. One of the challenges is that I don't have $5,000 to spend. So if you've got more money, then you can get better prices for your money. but usually I'm going to have less. So what I would do is say, okay, I've got $500 that I can spend. The cheapest on the market is $24, which I'm not going to buy this because it's just expensive compared to upgrading my greedy. I'd rather upgrade my greedy than buy these. So let's have a look at 15 watt. Now with 15 watt, these prices are good. So I've actually considered buying a few of these. So $32 sounds like a lot when we compared it to the 35 watt, but one of the benefits buying 15 watt is this is going to last you a long time. So with the with the 35 watt, I mean, you could in theory buy it, hold it for a year, get your money back, and then flip it. And that's fine if if you want to do that and you believe that will work, then go for it. And that's something that I was thinking of doing a few months back, but seeing difficulty increase and worrying, and I'm really paranoid that the electricity costs are going to go up at some point. That's not based on any data. That's just personal gut feel. I feel long term, like if you're playing the long game, 35 watt, 15 watt seems pretty good. So if we just look at the ROI on these stats, so if Bitcoin was to remain at this price, this data is claiming that you will get 40% of that back within a year. It would probably be realistically less than that if this was to remain static. So, with this steadily growing and compensating for the difficulty increase and the pore size increase, that could be realistic. So realistically, if you buy this, you will get your money back in around 2.5 years, possibly even faster in miner wars. So that's 15 watt. So that's the cheapest 15 watt. And then if we compare that with the cheapest 20 watt, I'm gonna go that one's a really big miner. Let's go with something that's a bit more comparable. I guess it doesn't matter for this example. So it's taken ages to load in that data. So this is saying if we pay with a BTC, you would get your money back in 2 years. While the 15 watt, you get it back in just over 2 years. But when you compare it like that, it's like, okay, I invest the money in 20 watt, I will get that money back within 2 years. If I invest that money in 15 watt, I get that money back in 2.5 years. If you want the money back in the fastest way possible, then 20 watt might seem appealing. But if you are in this for the long term, like I am, is it worth spending a little bit more so that your miner will last another 2 years or more beyond that date? And I think yes. Because when 15 watt first came out, there wasn't a lot on the secondary market, so the only way to get 15 watt was to buy it new or to upgrade. And at that point, the ROI was like 25%. It was terrible, and that would mean it would take you like 4 years. So comparing 20 watt to that, it's like, why would anyone? It's not even worth upgrading because it's so expensive. But now, now it's not the new shiny toy, and it's been out there for a while. The 15 watt has come down in value, And I know that when the next halving comes, which is in 3.5 years' time, it's well, sorry, just over 3 years' time. That's a long time away, but it 15 watt will still be profitable beyond that halving. So 15 watt should still be mining Bitcoin profitably for at least another, I would say, 4 or 5 years maybe. Well, 35 watt won't be, definitely won't be, and 20 watt might even be pushing it then. Well, 15 watt will continue. One of the benefits of 15 watt is that you're also getting more for your buck. So if you're in miner wars and you're making more than solo, you're going to be more profitable as a result of that. So it's worth considering that too. I think it's worth. I do think it's worth considering the long-term benefit of all of this stuff. Because if like with 35 watt, if Bitcoin drops to 90k, which is very likely or very possible, just dropping by a 10% seems like a possibility. 35 watt won't mine anything because difficulty is so high now that the cost to run those machines won't be particularly profitable or won't be anything, especially if you don't have that 20% discount. Well, the 15 watt will still be fine. I think 15, I don't know what price point it will be, but I'm going to throw out like 50, like if Bitcoin dropped by half, 15 watt in theory, I would assume would still be profitable. 35 watt probably won't be profitable below 90k. Yeah, so it's worth considering that too. That if Bitcoin dips in price, which could happen, I don't think it will with the way things are going. But it's always a risk, and it's also always worth considering that. And obviously, things like network difficulty and so on are worth knowing about and understanding and taking into consideration. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now, but I hope that this conversation has been useful, and I hope it helps you to understand if you want to invest in 35 watt or not. But personally, based on the way the market is here today, and I stress that these things change. So if you're watching this video in like a month after I made it, all of the data might have changed. So it's important that you make your own assessments and understand the way things are, because things change. But yeah, I hope it's help you to make your own mind up whether you want 15 or not, and understand the risks involved in it, or if you want to play smarter and focus on the long-term benefit of everything and look to buy cheap 15 watt. I still think 15 watt is still too expensive, but when you consider these floor prices I mentioned, and I've seen, like, if you watch the market, people always need liquid. They always want to in the NFT space, people are always like, I need to buy this now. Whether it's a meme coin or whether it's, some NFT, they need that money right here, right now, and they don't care about losing money because they know that they can turn that, 10x that if they have that money right now. So people always need liquid. So if you watch the market, people always dump their stuff for cheap, and they know it's cheap. They just want the money fast. So if you watch the market, you'll always see deals. But these prices on the 15 watt are good, and you can see, like I've shown earlier, 40 watt ROI seems pretty reasonable, and not massively different to the. I am rambling now, but if you're watching this, whatever. Yeah, so let's just compare it to, because these are big machines. Let's compare it to this one. No, it's the same ROI. It's the same ROI. In fact, it's worse if you're paying with BTC. So if you're going to use this money, unless you're using it for bulk in miner wars, it's not even, I don't even think it's worth it anymore. And I don't think these are, I mean, you can look at these estimates, but I don't think these, you won't be getting that money when Bitcoin's at that price. And I've already explained that. Anyway, I am rambling. Hopefully this has made sense. Hopefully this has been valuable. If you do have any further questions, or if you have any of your own opinions or insight on this, add to the comments on this video. I'd love to hear people's thoughts. Or feel free to ask questions in the Discord server. My name is Ian, or White Robot, in the Discord server, and I'll happily discuss and share thoughts and opinions on everything within GoMining. So thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to discussing this topic further with you.